So many of us were doing the work. We're reading the books, we're going to therapy, we are listening to self-help videos, but we feel still stuck repeating the same patterns, whether that's in life, in work, or in love. And the reason why, no matter how many self-help books or self-help videos you read or you listen to, you won't be able to create any lasting change in your pattern, is because these self-help books and videos don't give you any awareness on your specific and your personal experiences and circumstances that had led you into the adoption of that toxic pattern and that toxic behavior in the first place, right? That toxic pattern or that toxic behavior that is not serving you. And the truth is, we are trying to fix things on the surface while the real wounds are still buried. And until you're able to face those real wounds, until you're able to heal the things that you're not able to look at, those patterns that are not serving you are going to stick around. In this video, I'm going to help you understand the importance of bringing awareness into those wounds, of bringing awareness into your traumas and into your past experiences in order to heal them and in order to finally stop letting them dictate your life. In order to heal them and finally stop letting them sabotage your life, to stop you from sabotaging and blocking you from what you truly deserve and what you truly want. And so you can finally move forward with your life. And awareness keeps you in loops. What you can see, you can't change. We often find ourselves repeating the same emotional storylines, attracting emotionally unavailable partners, sabotaging our success, sabotaging our fitness goals, people pleasing, trying to be perfectionist, etc., etc. And why is that? Is because the root belief, whether that belief is I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, I have to earn love, or I will be abandoned, that root belief is still unconscious. And the thing about the subconscious is that it runs 90 to 95% of our behavior. So without any awareness, we end up living in autopilot. We end up letting that 90 to 95% of our subconscious take control of our behavior and our actions, and at the end, taking control of our life. So for example, maybe you keep attracting the same emotionally unavailable men or same emotionally unavailable women, and you keep asking yourself, why is this keep happening to me? Why am I only attracting the bad guys or the guys that are not emotionally available? With awareness, you're able to realize that actually I associate love with emotional unavailability because that's what I have experienced and that's what I'm used to from my parents, from my father, from my mom. My parents were emotionally unavailable, emotionally distant from me, and so I had to equate that as the normal, as this is okay, this is what love is. So now you are attracting people that are also emotionally unavailable and not able to cover your emotional needs, to meet them and to understand them, and to you are hurt all over again. Self-honesty is the first portal. So your healing will begin with radical honesty, not any judgment, but with gentle truth, by being able to compassionately try become aware of the truth without any judgment, without any anger, without any blame, but with the compassion to understand and to bring into light why is this happening. And the thing is, this is quite hard for us to do because we are conditioned to actually minimize our pain and to even dismiss it. A lot of people that go through trauma, big or small, they end up dismissing it and they end up saying, oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh, other people had it worse than me. But being able to make space for yourself and make space to understand that that thing actually happened and it actually had touched me and had hurt me, and it is not okay that this happened, and I should understand that, and I should give myself the compassion and understanding that what I went through is not normal and it did leave some impact on me. So I will be the person that will firstly make space and stop minimizing and dismissing that thing. I will be the first person that I will actually allow myself to be seen and to be understood for being heard. Because the thing about downplaying your experiences is that it keeps those experiences unprocessed and unhealed. Because just because you suppress them, it doesn't mean that you have resolved them. There's so many people that they go through grief, they go through different breakups, they go through different traumatic experiences in their lives, and their first reaction is to close their heart and to stop thinking and stop feeling those big emotions because they hurt too much. But because they suppress them and they stop allowing themselves to feel those emotions are not allowed to be washed out of them, to be felt and to be recycled and to get out of them, their body, out of their emotional field. You either have to cry it out, journal it out, process it out with other people or with yourself, but by suppressing them, those emotions are stuck inside of you. They have nowhere else to go. So this ends up being stored in your body. And this is what we call somatic memory. And a lot of somatic exercises exist to help with that, with helping releasing stored trauma that is inside of your body and that you're now not so able to find. Like if you had dealt with grief 5-6 years ago, that stored grief is inside of you, but now you don't have such easy access to those emotions as you did when they were right there in front of you. Now they're suppressed and they're way harder for you to get in touch with. So for example, somebody could avoid feeling any anger towards their mother because it makes them feel like they are bad for having that. So now in relationships, they continue to deny their anger and they continue to suppress their voice in these relationships because they bring that pattern of suppression from their relationship with their mother to their new relationship. And because their nervous system is not used to, doesn't feel comfortable enough to express that anger with their mother, it also doesn't feel any comfort in expressing their anger with other people. Journaling is the mirror to all of the unseen. The way that I see it is that your journal will tell you the truth while your mind will keep telling you stories. So when you are journaling, you're able to bring the subconscious into the surface. You're able to bring your subconscious thoughts into the paper right in front of you. So, and it's able to expose all of your patterns, all of your pain points, and all of your hidden beliefs. So the thing about writing is that it bypasses all of your mental filters and it allows for just raw self-reflection. So when you are writing, when you're journaling, you don't have any barriers and any limits while when you're trying to express yourself through your mouth. Some people are able to speak without thinking and expressing exactly what they are thinking at that moment, but there's some people that have more difficulty expressing that. But the thing about writing is that once you're able to get more comfortable with it, you're just writing down and like your thoughts are just spilled out on paper. And then you're able to see them and be like, wow, is that what I'm really like feeling? Is that what I'm really thinking? And this acts as a domino effect of understanding where of your behaviors, where all of your reactions are coming from. So for example, you start writing about the recent argument that you had, and suddenly you're able to realize, wait a minute, I wasn't actually hurt by what he said or what he did. I was actually hurt. It was because I was triggered. It triggered a feeling inside of me, the feeling of being ignored and not listened to, in the same way that I felt that when I was a child. You can have so many of these revelations while you're writing and you're thinking, okay, I had this argument, oh, I'm feeling sadness, but all of these are just pinpointing. These are just like, they are not actually the real problem. These negative feelings are coming from somewhere, and some belief, some pattern, some pain points that has touched you and therefore created these emotional currents inside of you that signal to you then, hey, listen, there's something wrong going on here. The thing is that we don't just randomly feel bad. There's some thought that is always associated with it, and it's a thought that maybe will be followed by another thought, by previous experiences, by another beliefs, by other what past experiences that have hurt you, and these accumulates and it creates a story that therefore ends up making you feel bad and ends up making you feel negative and makes you feel triggered because of all of that has accumulated. So when you're able to journal and become aware, oh, actually this comes all down from the fact that, well, I believe that I'm not worthy to be listened to because when I was younger, I was ignored. I mean, I was crying, and when I was expressing my negative emotions, my parents didn't soothe me and ignored me. And so now I have this belief that I am ignored and my emotions are not deserving to be listened to. So when my partner does that, this triggers this whole situation all over again, and therefore I feel triggered. I feel these negative emotions all over again. And by realizing and becoming aware of that, I can actually express that. I can communicate that with my partner, or I am able to heal that with myself, and I'm able to understand that, hey, this maybe has happened with your partner, but this is not what you deserved. This is not what is right. This is not what is healthy for a child that deserves to be loved unconditionally. You deserve to be treated with love. You deserved for your father or your mother or your parents to communicate with you, to have listened to you and to have understood you and hold you the way that you needed. So now you're able to reframe this and create a new healthy perspective and idea of what love really is. And because of that awareness of your past, you're able to create a better future. The defense mechanisms you have can keep you safe, but it will also keep you stuck. What you might think it's your personality, it might actually be just protection. It might just actually be there only as a way to cope and to help you protect yourself. So whether that's deflection, denial, humor, perfectionism, all of these things are coping strategies and coping mechanisms that you have adopted in order to avoid any discomfort. And without having awareness, we confuse these survival mechanisms, we confuse these survival strategies with our own identity. We make them be our own personality and our own identity. But what these defense mechanisms are, all they are is just your emotional shields. So maybe you have grew up into an environment where you have been judged a lot, and as a defense mechanism, as a way to cope to all of that judgment and all of that constant negative projection towards you, you have developed a very high sense of humor in order to deal with that, in order to become the first person that now makes jokes about you and is the person that now uses that humor to deflect and avoid just feeling negative and these negative emotions about you. You use humor to deflect what you need to become aware of. And now, therefore, that humor is only there to act as a shield from being able to be vulnerable with your emotions and being actually this judgment, it doesn't feel good anymore. And I want to express it, I want to communicate it with these people that, hey, like, back off, like, this is no longer what I'm willing to accept. You communicate with yourself like what you feel, and you're able to set boundaries that actually protect you emotionally. But if you're still using humor as a way to deflect off judgment and to be like, oh yeah, like, to just not actually address it, it will keep you feeling safe, it will keep you feeling comfortable in where you are, but it will never get you unstuck from the place where you are. It will keep you where you are used to being, in this situation where you're still being judged, and without that situation ever changing. Another example is a woman that has it always together, is the woman that always is a control freak, is a type A type of woman. That perfectionism, that ability to always have control comes from the fear of being vulnerable, because being vulnerable and not being perfect and not being on top of things and not having control has led her before into rejection. So maybe you are born with parents that had high expectations from you, and they always expected you to, well, this usually happens with the firstborn child, and they have high expectations from you. They expect you to hold things together. They expect you to do better, to know better, they just have so many high expectations from you. So all of these, maybe at some point of your life, you failed to be perfect and to hold everything together, and that was a situation that wasn't well received by your parents, and it ended up being, you have ended up being rejected in some way and being like judged and being like, oh, but why did you act this way? Why weren't you able to do better? And because of that situation, now you have suppressed that, and you have created the defense mechanism of, okay, I need to be always perfect, I always need to have control, because otherwise this is going to just mean that I am rejected, I'm not loved, I'm going to be judged. So in order to be always looked up to and always being well received by people, I have to have it always together. And I fell under that trap myself until I allowed myself to not have it all together and to have accepted that actually I don't have control. I'm just a child. I can't always live up to your expectations, because your expectations doesn't mean that this is where I'm happy. Your expectations could be good, well-intentioned for me, and they could have been well-intentioned for me at a time where, well, this is what I wanted. But when this is no longer what I want, I don't want you to still have certain expectations of me that I have to meet, but it comes to the expense of my own desires and my own wants. So by being the first person that allows yourself to understand, actually being vulnerable and being not always in control, not being perfect, doesn't make me unlovable. I'm still so loved, and I'm still so worthy, without having to be perfect, without having to be everything and holding it together for everyone in my life. Your triggers are your invitations and not threats. By seeing that every emotional reaction that you have is a doorway to something deeper. It's a doorway that will allow you to see and understand something in a deeper way. And I understand that when you're triggered by something that has caused you some negative emotional response in the past, it might feel like this is a threat. It might feel like something that you need to protect yourself from. But actually, you have to be able to reframe them as signals that are pointing you towards what is actually wrong, that is pointing you towards the unhealed wound, the thing that you actually need to address in order to feel safe again. So triggers are simply stored emotional charges, and when we react, it's usually a younger part of us that is responding. It's usually our inner child reacting and responding to that trigger, because it's the one that had that initial experience to begin with, and it's the one that got initially hurt and traumatized by that. So maybe, for example, you feel very disproportionately upset when someone doesn't respond to your texts. And on reflection, you are able to understand that actually it's not about them, but it's about my triggers and my unhealed wounds of being rejected, of being ignored, of not being listened to, or made feel like I'm unimportant. And so when you have that awareness, it allows you to have a choice on how to react. Awareness, it allows for choice and not reactivity. When you are not aware of what actually is triggering you, you will have for this example, you will have reacted emotionally to this situation and will be like, oh, like this guy's ignoring me, he doesn't think, like he's not responding to my text, or he doesn't think I'm important enough, and you feel abandoned all over again. But when you're able to understand that this is where this is coming from, this is the wound that is coming from, well, you're able to see like, well, I'm actually only feeling this because of what my previous experiences are, but it doesn't mean that this is what is objectively truth here. Maybe this person is working on something, maybe he's working, maybe he's talking to someone, maybe he's doing whatever he's doing. It doesn't have to be taken personally. Another important reason of understanding why awareness is so important to have in order to help us heal all of our unhealed wounds is because without awareness, you will repeat what is familiar and what feels familiar. And the thing is about the body is that it will seek what is familiar, not what is healthy for you. And we could see this with so many situations, attractive, toxic relationships, because this is what your body feels like it's used to. Saying that you're going to start a new diet or a new fitness routine, and you sabotage yourself because your body feels familiar with your previous behavior rather than what is actually healthy for you. And this is why so many people end up in the same toxic relationship dynamics again and again, toxic friendship dynamics, toxic health dynamics, toxic environment dynamics, and so on. And what we don't understand is that your nervous system is programmed for what feels familiar. It's programmed for what it already knows, and not what is good for you. It doesn't know what is good for you. It only knows what it has experienced before. Healing begins when you become finally aware of those patterns, those familiar patterns, so you are able to then interrupt them. So for example, maybe you leave a toxic relationship and you find yourself later on bored in a respectful and calm relationship. The reason why you find yourself bored is because that boredom is actually your nervous system withdrawing from all of that previous chaos. So your nervous system is used to all of that chaos, is used to all of those like anxieties. So now that you don't have any of those anxieties, all of those worries, and you finally feel calm and you feel respected, you feel like you have nothing to worry about, your nervous system is like shocked, is like, wait a minute, what's wrong here? I'm not used to this. And maybe you call it boredom. You call it, oh, this person doesn't give me the butterflies, doesn't give me passion. But it's actually your nervous system is not used to and is not familiar with the concept of calm, respectful love. Finally, I want you to understand that awareness without any action is completely incomplete. Seeing the pattern is the first step. Becoming aware is the first step. But taking action to interrupt it and choosing differently is the next. Surely becoming aware already brings so much expansion, so much revelation, so much understanding of where you're going through. But it will not be complete to take you to the next level, to take you to the level where you have moved on from that unhealed wound, if you don't choose differently. If you just become aware of your toxic behavior, of your toxic patterns, but then you now know them and you're aware of them and you keep choosing them and you keep doing the same thing and you don't interrupt them, then that awareness is not going to be able to take you anywhere differently. You have to teach yourself to choose differently. All of those insights can be really powerful, but it must be followed with new behavior. That awareness is going to help you stop asking and stop saying, but why is this keep happening to me? Why is this keep happening to me? And keeping you in that state of not knowing what's wrong with you. Why are you stuck in these situations? And with that awareness, it's going to stop. It's going to take you out of that situation where you keep asking yourself what's wrong with me, and it's going to allow you to start asking, what is this trying to show me about me? What is this trying to teach me, about my trauma, my experiences, my previous emotions and my wounds? So maybe you realize, for example, that you avoid asking for help because you equate that with weakness. In order to take that pattern and change it, just by becoming aware of it, won't mean that you have healed it. In order to heal it, you need to start taking small actions towards changing it. So in this situation, in this example, you need to start taking small actions and start making small safe requests and to see how you feel about that. And by doing that, you're going to start feeling more supported than ever. At the beginning, it's going to feel weird, but because I personally went through this, I always try to do everything on my own. I started to test. I started to using this as a game, be like, okay, let me just test my limits here then. If I'm actually right, if I am actually still feel weak by asking for help. And by just testing it out, asking for very small requests at the beginning and seeing the reaction, and I saw how supported and how good it actually made me feel, and it still made me feel strong enough in my body. It made me realize that pattern was just a negative perception and a negative belief that I had, and it was actually not truth. Slowly I was able to rewire myself and to make myself able to understand that independence doesn't mean that you have to do everything on your own. So guys, healing won't start with fixing. Healing starts with seeing. When you are able to bring your pain into light, it really begins to lose its power. You will really be able to see that, all of that emotional negativity, all of that emotional trauma, that unhealed wound that I had in my mind, and now that I put it into the light, I'm able to see that actually it's not that complicated as I thought it was. You don't have to have all the answers today, but you do need to start asking more honest questions to yourself, understanding the importance of awareness and understanding that you are the only person that can give that to you. So start with awareness, start with a pen and journal, and I promise you're going to be able to see how that clarity, how that compassion, and how that healing will follow. And personally, I'm a testament of so many things, so many wounds that I was able to heal by bringing them to the light myself without any external help. The only help that I had was the help of my journal. I understand the power of journaling. I understand the power of awareness in healing. Journaling was one of the best things that have ever happened to me, and my journey had a lot of ups and downs because I had to do it all myself. I had to try to go and find journal prompts here and there that I will have to just organize in my head, organize in my notes, to realize how different things are connected. And this path is not linear. Whether you're working to get unstuck on the path of love, on the journey, or whether you're trying to get unstuck when it comes to your purpose, your passions, your success, your abundance, and your limiting beliefs, mindset, whatever that is coming from, that is a long path to healing. And it's not linear. It's a long process because it's a number of beliefs, it's a number of experiences that is making that previous past belief, those previous wounds, to still have such a hold on you today. And that's why I have decided to create my own journal book that covers all the possible phases and all the sub phases and chapters that each phase has, that will allow you to go in depth and in a strategic way and in a way that flows chronologically in order to be able to heal yourself, to heal your wounds for when it comes to your love life and to your relationships. And because this was the biggest journey that I had to face on my own, now it's something that I want and I have deep understanding on how to go from the feeling of unloved to love, from the feeling of unwanted to wanted. And I know it's a process that it doesn't just happen with some journal prompts. It's a long process of different insights and different lessons that you need to go through. And so I put them all together in a chronological way, enable for you to be able to go through this healing journey in the most effortless way as possible. So I will be having that journal coming to you very soon, or you can already check into the description below. I will add it when I have it ready for you. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this video helped you. I hope this video gave you a big understanding of the immense importance of awareness. If you are ready to finally heal, and if you're ready to finally get out, to finally get unstuck from where you are, the first step is here. The first step is awareness. So if you have any questions, you can always let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.